Hello and welcome to today's assembly. I'm just about to wash my hands. We've all got new instructions that we have to follow these days. Instructions about how often we should wash our hands and for how long, all really important things to do. And today's assembly is about following instructions. What are good things and good rules to follow and what are not? Well, enjoy today's assembly.
I'm sure that this school encourages healthy eating. Healthy eating means having a balanced diet. Do you like vegetables and fruit? Those foods are very healthy and good for you, and so we are encouraged to eat them. In today's story, 4 boys asked to eat vegetables and refused to eat some food that was especially prepared for them. Did they get into trouble? Let's open the book and read the story, The Boys Who Like to Say No. God was very sad. Most of his people had stopped listening to him and talking to him and following his rules. Change your ways, God warned them, or you will have to leave this special place that I gave you long ago. But the people would not listen. So God let their enemies defeat them and destroy their cities and carry them hundreds of miles away to be slaves in the land of Babylon. There were, however, a few of God's people who did not forget him. And among them were 4 young friends: Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These boys were clever and strong. So Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, decided to treat them well. He gave them soft beds, rich food, and an education at his very best school, all in the hope that they would forget about the land they'd left. But Nebuchadnezzar hadn't reckoned on them being the boys who would like to say no. King Nebuchadnezzar's chief servant was put in charge of turning these boys into good Babylonians.
For dinner tonight, you will have the following choices from the king's own menu: pink pork sausages, plump pork chops, and perfect pork pies.
The king's food looked good, but Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego knew it was made from something that God's rules said they should not eat. The rules that they had learned in their own land, the rules their God had given them, the rules and the land and the God they had promised never to forget. So they turned to the king's servant and together they said,
No.
No.
The servant could not believe it.
No pink pork sausages?
No, but I wouldn't mind a few carrots.
No plump pork chops?
No, but I'll have a nice green salad.
And not even one perfect pork pie?
No, but a nice parsnip would be lovely.
The king will be very angry. If you do not eat his food, you will grow tired and ill, and then the king will punish me. Won't you change your minds, please?
No, but you will not get into trouble, for we will not grow tired and ill. Tell the king that we wish to have a contest. For 10 days, the 4 of us will eat nothing but vegetables. And just drink water. The other boys in the palace can eat your food. And then we will see who is well and who is not.
The servant agreed, and so did the king. And for 10 days, the boys who liked to say
No.
to everything but vegetables and water, while the other boys ate their fill of the king's food. What happened? The God who Daniel, Shadrach, and Meshach, and Abednego would not forget, did not forget them. At the end of the contest, the boys who liked to say
No.
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 looked healthier and stronger, much healthier and stronger than the other boys, in fact. So from then on, Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were allowed to eat whatever they liked, all because they were loyal to their God and because they were the boys who liked to say
No.
Today's story was about 4 boys who loved God and wanted to do what was right. In this case, the right thing for them to do was to say no. The 4 boys wanted to follow God's rules. For them, his rules were about food were important. Even today, some people feel that God wants them not to eat certain types of food. For other people, there might be important rules about what they wear or how to behave. Close your eyes and think about any rules you think God might want you to follow. Now I am going to say a prayer, and if you want to make it your prayer, say Amen at the end after me. Dear God, it was hard for the boys to follow your rules, especially when they were told that they shouldn't. Help us to choose the right rules to live by. Amen.
Amen.
Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God, and he holds us in his hands. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God, and he holds us in his hands. He's higher than a skyscraper. He's deeper than a submarine. He's wider than the universe and beyond my wildest dreams. And he's known me and he's loved me since before the world began. How wonderful to be a part of God's amazing plan. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God, and he holds us in his hands. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God, and he holds us in his hands. He's higher than a skyscraper. He's deeper than a submarine. Wider than the universe and part of God's amazing plan. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God, and He holds us in His hands. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God, and He holds us in His hands. He holds us in His hands. And He holds us in His hands. And He holds us in His hands.
We're going to have a short quiz, and I wonder whether you can guess the road signs that are going to appear. It may be that the teacher wants to pause as we go through each of the signs to give you time to have a think. So, are you ready for the first one? Can you guess what this sign means? This sign is to tell us that traffic lights are nearby, so you are approaching some traffic lights, and you can see the different colours of the traffic lights in the picture. I wonder how many of you got that one right. Let's have the second one. This sign, if you saw this as you were on the road, it would mean that the speed limit is 30 miles an hour. You should not go any quicker than that. Let's have our next one. This sign is to warn us that there are deer in the area, and so to be careful as you're driving. Are you ready for the next one? Now, I think this next one is probably the hardest of them all. If you get this one right, you're doing really, really well. Here it goes. This sign is to warn us that there is a queue ahead. So be careful, there'll be cars that are in a queue. I wonder how many got that one right. That's a hard one. Well, I wonder how many got all those road signs right. Some of them were not easy, but they're there to help us to make the right decisions, to help keep us safe when we're on the roads in a car. You know, sometimes the advice we get from people is good and sometimes not so good. You might be in the playground and somebody says for you to do something and you know it's not right, and you have to say no. A bit like the young people in our Open the Book Bible story today. And Jesus was once asked, you know, the Bible, it's a big book. What's the best instructions, the best rules to follow? And Jesus said, well, there's two that summarize the whole Bible. The first one is love God with all your heart. And the second one is to love your neighbor as yourself. So if you follow these two things, you won't go far wrong. Love God with all your heart, and we will be better people for it. And it does us the world of good on the inside. And love your neighbor as yourself. That'll impact the rest of the world that we live in if we're kind and considerate and loving to one another. Two good bits of advice, I think, there from Jesus. And maybe it's something for us to think about in this coming week.